Hello, hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and today we're gonna go from hot messery to holiday fabulous. I'm just feeling like I need a little pep in my step today and I want to practice what I would like to wear for Christmas dinner. So, that said, let's dive in. All right, I do have skin prep done outside of SPF, so we're gonna do that. I really want this to be a flawless base, maybe a little sparkle on the eyes, and I can't wait to share. I found my perfect red, which is a really exciting purchase that I made at the beginning of fall because I knew I'd want to be wearing red lips. I have worn it twice and I just need to get more use out of it. So that's what we're going to do today. I just very aggressively rubbed that in, but I think this is just about at the finish line. There's like maybe one more application left, which is very exciting. For my flawless base today, I am going to use the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in Siberia. It's so, if you were here for that debacle, it's so easy for me to say Mont Blanc, but I switched the shades because Mont Blanc was a little too pink, little too dark, and only oxidized as the year went on that I had this. So we're using Siberia. And while I blend this in, I do want to take just a moment to say how grateful I am for everybody's response on the last video. I really wanted to make that because it was such a creative block. It felt like I wasn't sharing a very important part of myself with everyone. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I'll link it down below. It just feels really good to get that off my chest. And also, those were words that I needed to hear at some point in my journey and what I want everyone to know going into any discussions around autism. Again, I'm not an authority, but I just wanted to share my perspective, and I can't thank you enough, especially if you watched, if you liked, if you commented. So many people were sharing their stories, and I think it's really important to hold space for that. Even if you're not going through it yourself, to learn from other perspectives and just be better equipped to hold space for others. I think it's important for us to do as human beings. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't tell you how much it meant. Such joyful tears were brought to my eyes with all of your responses. It was just lovely. So thank you for that. But this is probably gonna go fairly quick. So I have my foundation blended in. It's a nice medium coverage. Still a little bit of redness that peeks through, but I just love the finish of this, and it just looks like healthy, slightly glowy skin, especially over top of the lid tinted. And then because it's not full coverage, I'm going to rely on Rose Ink Concealer in LX01, just kind of under the eyes and where I get redness along my face, which I thought I just repurchased this, but I do use it very, very regularly. I won't say every day because I've been doing kind of no makeup lately, but I do like to bring it down the sides of my nose, onto my nose a little bit, and my chin, just to cover up that redness, bring some brightness back into my face. And I like to start with the non-under eye areas just so that gets time to kind of settle in and really give me the best bang for my buck with coverage. So I'm just going to kind of blend that along the cheeks, although I don't have to completely blank out redness because I'm going to put blush on, but I am going to run this over my lips, especially my lip line, because we're going to be doing a red, and I noticed that redness really peeks through next to a red lip, and so I just want that to be a little bit more perfected down there around my lips. And then I'm actually going to switch. I've been switching up my day-to-day brushes quite a bit lately, and I do need to clean out my kit because it's just accumulating a lot, but just use the Beauty Pie Seamless Buffing Foundation brush to apply my foundation in kind of the concealer that's on my face. I like to grab something a little bit smaller for under the eyes. The Rare Beauty concealer brush is really good, and then also this Beauty Pie Pro Angled Concealer brush is just about the same thing. They're both very soft and that kind of smaller, almost like fingertip size bristles, and I just love it because it helps me really get into the corner here, because with a red lip I really love to over brighten that inner corner, and that's where some of the sparklies will go. So I like to make sure I get in there, and I will always kind of blend it across the bridge of my nose just so there's not like a concealer line that ends right there. And then also whatever's left I'll blend along my lid and underneath. So I kept my concealer really concentrated right in this right in this inner corner of my eyes, and I'm avoiding putting too much here because I have I have deep set eyes, and this crease is quite deep on me. And honestly, we might try a new technique that I have seen one of my favorite Instagram and TikTok creators do. I'll pop his information up. I just love the looks that he does, and he does this technique where he emphasizes that line, and it looks so good on him. And I want to try that today to, you know, kind of embrace those lines rather than be like, ugh, my concealer's creasing. It's gonna crease. It's such a deep set line. And it has nothing to do with aging. I've had that line for as long as I can remember because my eyes are so deep set. I am gonna set that concealer down with the Westman Atelier Vital Press Skincare Powder in Translucent. Man, I wonder if you can see this. Probably not, but this is like nicked and has taken a beating. This is well over a year old, I think, at this point. I just love it so much. But I'm using that with the e.l.f. Precision Setting Powder brush. I love it because it's quite small. It's almost like a highlighter brush, but it's a little bit less dense, so you get really nice kind of puffs of powder. And I do that because I don't like to set my whole face because I have dry skin. So I like to just, my chin I do like to set, and then around the nose. And sometimes if I'm too dewy, which I'm not today, I will take it up a little on the forehead, but mainly focusing on the under eye. And then I will set the lid just so that the creasing stays to a minimum. Although I've never had that interfere with an eyeshadow look. Again, because I have dry skin, I'm sure my oily skin friends would screech at the thought of me not doing that. And honestly, I'm going to take whatever is left over on the brush and just set around the mouth just so that concealer stays and we get a nice crisp red line. What a 2000s look that lip is. Crazy. Okay. Now that that's done, let's move to bronzer. I'm going to be using the Phytosurgence Spectral Sunlight. I always want to say Shine. That's the highlighter. Spectral Sunlight Cream Bronzer. I have this in Rosy Daybreak 2, my favorite shade. And I do want to add quite a bit of this, so I'm going to go with the Smith 151. I do love Phytosurgence Soft Quill Brush for this product, especially when you want like a light application, but I want to go a little heavy today. So this has much denser bristles, and they're goat hair, so they're a little bit more firm, whereas this is quite flexible, which is absolutely beautiful when you're buffing something on or getting that kind of really believable look. But this is one of those looks where I'm going to be very visibly wearing makeup, and so I want my bronzer to show, you know? And so I'm just working that in. And this is a good point. So I've been working on this bronzer for quite some time, and I don't always follow the instructions on the Phytosurgence website, but however, you should, and you should check out their website because they have amazing product tips. So I'm just roughing up the surface of mine because it's not dried out, but it's a little dry. So I just roughed up the surface a bit with a spatula, and I'm going to go back in with the brush. And that should bring it back to life if it ever seems to not be picking up. See? Perfect. And then I'm just going to start adding that to my cheeks. I also love this brush because on its side, it's like the perfect shape for the area that I like to cover. And then if I really want to chisel, I can turn it this way instead of this way. Same with my forehead. I like that I can turn it on its side, and it's the perfect little shape. I'm gonna pick up a little more. And what I like to do with bronzer is I'll always go in and add this first layer. And because this is like such the perfect shade for me, I always end up adding more when I want to look really bronze because it just looks so at home. And I am going to wiggle it into my hairline just so it's not a stark transition to my very pale scalp. I'm getting hair everywhere. My hair is real crazy. I was like, I just can't deal with you today and I need you off my face. But we will style that. And maybe I'll even film that because I know that I want to have mad scientist hair. And then I'm just going to hit my little gobble neck there. Perfect. Got a lint on me. And I've got hair in my face. I'm telling you, this hair is really fighting me today. Then I'm going to use Ignite as my blush today because it's like that perfect little complement to a red lip. And it's a beautiful muted brown rosy red. So I'm just gonna blend it out a little to start it. And then with my Rare Beauty blush brush, just going to blend that. And I like to bring mine up very close to my nose just because my natural redness from my rosacea tends to go all the way to my nose. And so when I add my blush like that, it just looks more natural. Plus, as the day goes on, if my redness starts to peek through, it doesn't look completely out of place. And just blend it out on the other side. Now, because it's winter, I have been bringing it across the bridge of my nose just to give that like, I'm so cold effect. And what cracks me up is I've never been one to really highlight the tip of my nose, but because I conceal that with a brightening concealer and then go across my nose, it just kind of happens naturally. So I'm just going to run the brush along my nose so it's not so stark. I don't want to look like I have a red tipped nose, but you know, just make it look at home. But see, it's going to be so nice with a red lip. And then actually, I was going to prep my lips. I might add a little bit of the Lawless Forget the Filler just on the center of my lips because my lips are dry right now. I also just really love this product and the scent. And it will help plump our lips while we do the rest of our face. But I am avoiding the lip line so that it doesn't interfere with that concealing we did. Now that's a thousand's lip right there, you know? Oh, I love that smell. All right, let's do brows next. And because I have mine tinted and laminated, I'm gonna start by just fluffing them up so that I can get the right shape down. Can you hear my sniffer dog? What are you sniffering? He must have found something very interesting. All right. And now this is where I've been just like using all sorts of different brow products. And I need to make a decision on what we're going to use today. I think for sure I want to use the Huebrow so that they stay kind of up and fluffy. But I'm going to pick up the e.l.f. Bite Size Brow Palette. I love this. You get 2 powders in 2 different shades and then 2 waxes in 2 different shades. So clear and then a more brown shade for me. This is in Taupe, this palette, so it's going to be a Taupe shade. But I'm going to go into the darker of the 2 powders with the e.l.f. or Eco Tools flat eyeliner brush, which can be used for eyeliner or brows. Don't make it more difficult for yourself than it has to be. Labels mean nothing. Ooh! Clearly this is the first time I'm using this powder. I'm going to wipe some off on my hand, and then I just drew a line at the bottom and I'm just going to flick that up to blend it. Because really what is great about using a brow powder, and I haven't for some time, but what is great about it is it's going to blend and not look as stark, especially if you struggle with brows in general, and I'm going to continue to do the same thing. So I'm drawing my line at the base of my brow to get that arched shape, and then I'm just using the width of that pencil to flick up. And see how it just fills in those gaps? It's so nice. Pick up a little extra for this part of my arch that's a little sparser, and then come to a nice little point at the end. Just gives it some definition and some depth. And then I'm going to turn it on its side and just flick at the inner corner just to further blend that. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to be a powder person again, which I don't know why I'm doing that to myself, because I'm almost finished with that Benefit pencil. The pencil that will never fully die, you know? And then I'm just going to do the same on this eye. Perfect. Yeah, I'm a powder girl again. That shade's really nice as well. And then to set the brows in place, I'm going to use the Lip Tinted Huebrow. So this product has a flat side that kind of holds all the gel, and then it has kind of longer bristles. Let me see, I might need to do it against black. There we go. So you can see on the top is longer bristles and on the bottom is shorter. So what I like to do with this product, I'm gonna get close to my mirror here. What I like to do with this product is take that flat side and brush it up on the brows so it gets plenty of product, and sometimes you'll need to use both sides depending on how much you need. And then I'll take the tall side of the bristles, and I love these because they're a nice plastic bristle that really comb the hair up, and I'm gonna comb up like that, and then I'm going to take the shorter side and just knock them down the tiniest bit. There you go. And then sometimes you might need to comb through just to get any clumps out. I like to do that with the long bristles, and if I need to, I'll wipe it off on the back of my hand. Keep brushing. I will say, getting them tinted and laminated really just means you're grooming them more than drawing them on, which is so nice. Then I am going to dip back in, do the same to the other side, and we can start on the eyes. Ooh. There we go. Brows on. All right, for eyes, I'm a little torn. So I have the Lawless Winter Beach palette that I think would be really good for this look, and that's probably what we're gonna go with, but it is a hard contender against the Lawless, the Dreamy Dozen. I think I want to use maybe a combination of the two, or maybe we'll grab a duochrome for the glitter, but I think I'm going to do the Winter Beach to start. And I'm going to grab an eyeshadow blender to start work in the crease, and this is the Rephr 15, very similar to the Rephr 1, but it is just a little bit bigger and longer. And I'm going to tap into this shade here, which is Coconut. Just a slightly cool, if not neutral, brown shade just to add some shadow. So it's better if it is neutral leaning cool, or cool if your skin tone doesn't fight against that too much. But I like this shade a lot for this. You saw me kind of wing it out. We are going to do that shaping, so I'm just using back and forth sweeping motions, windshield wiper motions to blend that. And because of my deep set eyes, when I look forward, I don't want to lose that color. So I am going to go up a little higher than the natural crease in the depth. I'm going to go just above that and really buff it up almost all the way to the eyebrow. I love how these shades blend, these mattes especially. Even though I stamped that on, it's blending out so nice. And then bringing that down to the lash line and winging that out. We can always clean this up and blend it more if we need to. But that's giving us the first bit of shape. Now you can go lighter than what I'm doing, but I like a good smoky eye, so that's what we're doing. It's holiday season and I want to feel as glam as I can, you know? I'm just creating that wing again, that triangle shape out kind of past almost where my eyebrow hairs end. And because I want this to be super glam, I am going to take some extra time even after the color is laid down just to make sure everything is blended. And I'm doing kind of like a tap and drag motion. I love it. I'm already in love with it. And then because I want my inner corner to be very bright, I'm going to take this shade, which is Seashell. It's a matte creamy white. You can use a matte white. If you're a little bit deeper, you can use like more of a beige or basically close to your skin tone, but you want it to brighten. So I'm going to hit the inner corner with that. And then I'm also going to bring that up to meet that first crease shade and really kind of get up almost to where that orbital bone ends, because I really want this to stand out and be bright, especially with the sparkles that we'll cover it with. And I am going to kind of bring that into the first third of the lid. Again, using a tapping motion here just to pat it into that brown. If we need to go back into the brown to make it look a little bit more cohesive, we can do that. I'm just going to do the same thing on this side. Go into the inner third. And then I'm going to lightly tap and just hit right under the arch of my brow. And then whatever's left, bring it under and kind of tap just to bring a little brightness back there. I like to lay that crease shade down first because then it's just a little bit easier for me to see where I need to blend back. So I'll take that and just run the brush with nothing extra on it over those just to make sure they're blended. And this is where I want to make some decisions. So that's the shimmer. See, that's what I want. I don't even know that we're going to have to reach into another palette. So I'm going to take that same brush and use that on the lightest shimmery shade, which is Glistening. It's a foiled light champagne, one of my favorite shades to use in general. I'm going to put that all over the lid. So I'm not going into the inner corner, but all over the lid to add some sparkle. Yes, yes, yes. Now I did use that with a brush. I'm just curious. This one feels a little drier than some of the other sparkles in these palettes. Yeah, I don't think there's a difference between your finger and your eyeshadow brush here. Most of the time I would much rather use a brush than my fingers, so that's what we're working with. It's a very subtle shimmer, but I kind of like that. We're gonna continue to build this look and then see if we need to amp it up. I do think because I used the deepest shade, I want to dip into, actually, let's go into the Glam one from Lawless. I'm gonna use this black because I just love a black and red look. Like, you gotta have black in the smoky eye, you know? And I'm going to grab that. I'm gonna reuse the brush I used for my brow powder earlier. I'm just gonna stamp that along the lash line to get the base of my shape down, and I'm going to make it thinner as we get into my inner corner. It's just the shape that I like on my eye. I really like to keep this as bright as possible, the inner corner. So a little thicker on the outer eye and thinner towards the inner. And there we have kind of like the start of our shape. And now I'm gonna tap it one more time, and I'm going to create a flick. And this brush is perfect for this because you can literally just stamp it and then start to expand it a bit. I think I want to go that far, and then I'm just gonna bring that in. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna be blending this out. It's just to get the start of that shape down. So we've got the start of that, and I'm just gonna relax my eyes to make sure that those wings are visible. When my eyes are relaxed and looking straight ahead. And then I need to grab a pencil brush. Okay, grabbing any old pencil brush will suffice. I have a lot from Refer. I have some from Beauty Pie that I love, but today I just grabbed whatever I saw first, which is a Jaclyn Hill and Morphe collab. You know. Anyway, I'm gonna pick up just a little bit more of the black just to kind of build the pigment, and then we're gonna switch to a deeper brown. And see, I just made a little mess up. I'm gonna take my fingernail and just flick that. And if we can't get it, we'll fix it at the end. I actually think I'm gonna go into the Dreamy Dozen and use Storm here because it's a little bit cooler. I really wanna stay with kind of like neutral to cool because my red lip has a decent amount of coolness to it. It's like a berry red almost to me. And what I'm doing is I'm going at the edge of that cat eye and just smoking out the edge just to make it blend into the brown that we used earlier a little easier. And this is where you just have fun and build it up to the amount of smokiness that you desire. And it's gonna mix with that black, so it's not gonna be super, super stark, but it's still gonna have a decent amount of depth because I like a decent amount of depth in my smoky eyes. I'm gonna leave it there and we'll finish blending in just a minute with the bigger brush, but I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And I do like a decent portion of that outer lid that is visible when I open my eyes and look forward. I like a lot of that to be kind of covered. And you'll see I'm even going back to kind of fix that edge that got a little wonky. So I'm actually going to go back into the black and just try to reestablish that bottom shape. Yep, I'm loofing it. All right, and then I'm going to take my blender brush with nothing on it and just make sure that edge is blended. Now, if you are worried about these dark shades, I'm not getting any fallout from these shadows, but if you're worried about that or the shadows that you're using have a little bit of fallout, feel free to do this eye look first. I can't envision the finished eye look without having my base done. My brain is just like, all I can see is the redness everywhere. So that's why I do my base first. And I'm just gonna tap the very outer corner of that cat wing just to blend everything together all the way up almost to the brow bone, leaving just a little bit of that brightness. And I think, yeah, I'm liking this quite a bit. Now, I will say I want a little bit more sparkle, so let's make some decisions around the sparkle. All right, I can't help that this is one of my favorite shades, but I'm thinking JD Glow Unexpected or Terra Moon Sea Goddess. It has a little bit of pinkness to it, which could be fun, but then JD Glow is just like a beige goldy champagne, which I think is what I'm going for Christmas. So I'm going to pick the JD Glow Unexpected up on my finger and apply that to my lid right above the dark shade. Kind of blend it out like that. And I'm being careful not to place it too much over the black, but see, my finger did what it wanted to right there, so all I'm going to do is go back into the black and just lightly go over that area so it remains kind of stark and not too covered by the glitter. But yeah, that's giving me the glitter that I want. It's not too much, but it's just a beautiful smoky eye. What more can I say? I am going to apply my mascara and wipe the lip plumper off my lips, and then we will reconvene to do the perfect red. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. All right, so I applied the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Volumizer, their non-tubing volumizing formula. I really like it. You could definitely add some falsies. You could also do some individual lashes. That would be really pretty. But I am going to take my powder brush and just kind of lightly go over those wings on the outside so they're not super stark. And already I feel like we need to bring the blush and the bronzer up, but we'll revisit that after the lips because the lips will really show that we need to do that. So to line my lips, my favorite red, and it's because it's like a berry mauve-y red, is the Wet n Wild lip liner in the shade 715 Plumberry. I do really love this, and the trick I like to do, because I have kind of a double lip line and pigment that goes beyond my lips very easily, a lot of redness, I like to stretch my lips out so I can see exactly where I need to line. I do not overline. I just don't think I could. My face would not carry it well. So I'm going to line my lips and then we'll be back. Frank is warding off all of the neighborhood children. If you're worried about like a matte liquid lip, I'm not using a matte liquid lip tonight. I do like the e.l.f. Exfoliator and Creamsicle. I think they've really perfected the formula. I didn't like the original, so the new ones I do like. What I was saying is I like to bring my liner in on the corners a little bit. Not going for like a true ombre lip, but it does help blend the colors together. And now I feel like I need a drum roll because this is my perfect red, and I went and swatched every red in Sephora, every red in Ulta, and this is the one I landed on. I have not bought a Chanel lipstick since my wedding. I wore Boy, and honestly, I ended up mixing that because it wasn't like exactly what I wanted, but it's the Rouge Allure L'Extrait. It is the lustrous version of this, and it is in the shade. What is the shade? I'm gonna have to pop the shade up on the screen because it's not on the tube, but also, especially for a red lip, I'm usually busting that out for a special occasion or when I really want to feel good. So I'm okay to spend a little bit more, upwards of $30 on a lipstick. That's not my lipstick collection, but also please, come on. I can't, it's like a spy lipstick and it's a slim case. I love it. It's just, especially when you pull out a shade that you know you feel powerful in, it's just so much fun, you know? So I will show you this shade. So you can see it's much more red, and it is like a blue red. But when you mix it with this lip liner, oh, it's the perfect one. It also goes on so creamy. I'm like having to pause because Frank is barking at noises outside. Anyway, oh, it's such a pretty red and it's perfect. I don't even know. I think I might leave the blush here because I like to have that red kind of kiss on the cheeks as well with that Ignite shade, but I don't think that it needs more. I actually quite like this, and I think if I have time, I will film how I'm going to do my hair, but I would like to get the last empties of the year filmed, but let's pretend my hair is nice and done. Oh, with a nice tuck behind the ear. Okay, it's giving. All right, but that's the finished look. I feel very perfected. I love the shimmer on my eyes, and I love a smoky, like a nice smoky wing with a red lip. It's just very holiday season. You're gonna probably see a million of these looks out there, but this is my spin on it using the products that I love. I'm so happy with this red lip. I think it goes with my skin tone really well. And I will say, if you're interested in the formula of this, and this might not be your perfect red shade, there's so many reds. I labored over the reds in this line specifically for like 45 minutes in Ulta, and I could not be happier that I chose this one. But yeah, there's the finished holiday look. I hope this was helpful. I hope you have some fun holiday plans coming up, and if not, I highly recommend getting Glam like this and just going about your normal day, because I feel pretty good, you know? Can't wait for my husband to come home and see this. Maybe we need to go on a date tonight, you know? But yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful lead up to the holiday season. You have some fun things planned, even if it's just R&R for yourself. And thank you again for all of your love on the last video. And I hope that I will see you in the next one. Bye.